Welcome to the Dan Sports Tips MLB Daily Fantasy Preview Show for today, the 23rd of July. I'm going to be taking a look at everything you need for your daily fantasy games on DraftKings today. I'll be looking at starting pitchers, stacks of the day, how we can construct a lineup to maximise our point scoring potential, foundation players that should be used to build a winning lineup upon, and a value player at each position. For anyone that hasn't had an opportunity to sign up and play daily fantasy sports with DraftKings yet, I will put a link in the description for this video to enable you to do that today. I've taken a look at starting pitchers. It's pretty clear it is a starting pitcher day today. We have Jose Fernandez of the Miami Marlins for $13,900. It's a lot of money, but how can you not like a pitcher who's got a 25-1 record and a sub-2 ERA in his home ballpark, going against a unit that strikes out above average in baseball in the Mets? Jose Fernandez has 168 strikeouts in 113 and 2/3 innings this year. There is very little to dislike about him today. The only negative, if you want to look for one, is that he does get opposed by Jacob deGrom, who is a perfectly capable pitcher as well. Max Scherzer of the Washington Nationals is 13,100. Scherzer gets the Padres today, who ranks second in baseball for strikeouts this year. He has a 1.61 ERA over his last 9 starts and 81 strikeouts in 61 1/3 innings in that time frame as well. For the season, he's racked up 171 punch-outs in 134 2/3. He does have a softer opponent in Fernandez in terms of opposition pitcher, and I think Scherzer at $800 cheaper could be your top play at pitcher today. David Price of the Boston Red Sox for 11,100. I can't not include Price. He's capable of racking up double-digit strikeouts. Now, despite some control issues and the results having not really been there this year, the peripherals are still okay. His ERA, while losing 3 of his last 4 starts, is north of 4. That falls in line with his season numbers. Falls in line with his numbers at Fenway this year, but he does still have 141 punch-outs in 130 innings pitched, and the Twins are above average for strikeouts in the league this year. He will have to be careful with Brian Dozier, who's especially proficient against left-handed pitching. He hasn't faced the Twins this year. I can't believe we're at a point where David Price feels risky, particularly at that cost, but it's where we're at. Kendall Graveman of the Oakland Athletics is 7,900. If you want to pay down for pitcher, there are worse options than Graveman today. He is not a strikeout pitcher. He has 8 strikeouts over his last 2 starts. Both of those starts were against Houston, who do strike out a lot. Tampa also rank in the top 5 in baseball this year, though. Graveman's got 66 strikeouts in 101 2/3 this year, but he is 4-0 with a 2.64 ERA his last 7 starts and does average over 6 innings in that time frame. So he is likely to give you some innings, and is pitching in a great yard as well in the Coliseum. Other options, if you want to pay down and take on the big hitting lineups at pitcher today, you could take Milwaukee's Zach Davis, who's pitching well against the Chicago Cubs, or Hisashi Iwakuma of Seattle, also pitching well, taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Has quite a solid record against them as well. Looking at stacks of the day, it is fairly obvious. It isn't rocket science, but it does need to be done today with the Colorado Rockies against Matt Wisler. Wisler has struggled on the road this year. He's got a 1-6 record. He's allowed 5 home runs in his last 2 starts, and now he's heading into Coors Field. Outfielder Charlie Blackmon is 5,100. He's 306 with 12 home runs and 11 steals this year out of the leadoff spot, and he's on the right side of the platoon in the matchup. Outfielder Carlos Gonzalez for 5,200. He has a home run off of Wisler. He's hitting 318 with 20 home runs and is also on the right side of the platoon. And third baseman Nolan Arenado for 4,600. He's 289, 24 home runs this year. I do think it would also be prudent to stack some Boston Red Sox against Ricky Nolasco today. Nolasco has had issues in a couple of starts at Fenway Park. It's a double-digit ERA in career starts there, and there are good hitting conditions forecast. First baseman David Ortiz, he's 5,600. He does have 3 home runs off of Ricky Nolasco, 326 hitter with 24 bombs on the year. Outfielder Jackie Bradley Jr., he's 5,100 on the right side of the platoon, 294 with 15 home runs. Shortstop Xander Bogaerts, he's 4,400, hitting 324 with 11 home runs of the year. You could also use Mookie Betts in this stack. He, however, obviously left the game last night with a knee injury, so we'll have to check lineups and see whether or not he's playing today before we want to do that. And the Houston Astros, they get to face Jared Weaver at home today. Weaver is worth opposing despite a strong start last time on the hill. His ERA in 2 starts against Houston this year is close to 8. A number of Houston hitters have experienced success against him. Outfielder George Springer for 4,200. He has 2 home runs off of Weaver. He's hitting 256, but he has 21 home runs on the year. Catcher Jason Castro for 3,300. He's got 3 home runs off of Weaver. He's hitting 222, 6 home runs on the right side of the platoon in the matchup. Carlos Correa at short for 5,200 also has a home run off of Weaver, 263, 14 homers, 10 steals on the season, and of course second baseman Jose Altuve for 5,500. He's a 358 hitter with 15 home runs and 25 stolen bases, giving you complete production at the position. For my foundation players today, it's fairly standard at first when he's facing a righty, but David Ortiz of the Boston Red Sox for 5,600. As I said earlier, he has 3 home runs off of Nolasco. He crushes righties. It's a great yard. The weather forecast is good for hitting. 326 with 24 home runs this year. There's nothing really negative for Ortiz today. At second base for the second night in a row, Brian Dozier of the Minnesota Twins. He's a bit cheaper today at 4,500. He's on the right side of the platoon. Probably the reason he's cheaper is he's obviously facing David Price. But Dozier is very good against left-handers this year. Let's face it, Price, despite being one of my starting pitchers today, has not been good this year. Dozier does have a home run yesterday. He's got 2 bombs against Price. He's 249 with 17 home runs this year. At third is Danny Valencia of the Oakland Athletics for 4,300. He's a 300 hitter with 12 home runs this year. He's on the right side of the platoon against Drew Smyly. He's been very good against left-handed pitching. The only negative for the Oakland Athletics today is obviously the Coliseum is a pitcher's ballpark. Sticking with the Athletics at shortstop, I will take Marcus Semien for 4,700. He's a 234 hitter. He's got 20 home runs. He's on the right side of the platoon as well against Smyly and is also excellent against left-handed pitching. And in the outfield, I will have Dexter Fowler of the Chicago Cubs for 4,600. Their leadoff man is back and back with a bang last night as he led off their game with a home run. He makes the Cubs lineup tick, in all honesty. At the top of the lineup there, gives them the momentum at the start of games. He's a switch hitter. He's hitting 298 with 8 home runs this year, despite the extended absence through injury. Looking at my value plays, my catcher's Kurt Suzuki of the Minnesota Twins for 3,100. He has a home run off of David Price. It's a great yard and forecast. He's hitting 284 with 5 home runs this year, and he's on the right side of the platoon. My first baseman is Tommy Joseph of the Philadelphia Phillies for 3,500. He's hitting 259 with 13 home runs. He gets Tyler Glasnow in his second career start in the big leagues. It's a warm day and the wind forecast will be blowing out in Pittsburgh. Joseph's certainly capable of hitting it out of that yard. My second baseman is DJ LeMahieu of the Colorado Rockies for $4,000. It isn't often a player comes in at cause at 4,000 or less and qualifies as value play. He's a 327 hitter this year with 5 home runs and 7 steals on the season. My third baseman is Marwin Gonzalez of the Houston Astros. He also qualifies at first. He's 3,800. The switch hit is hitting 254 with 8 home runs and 9 steals and gets the hittable Jared Weaver today. In a small sample size, he is 4 for 10 against him. Shortstop Tim Anderson of the Chicago White Sox for 3,900 is a 275 hitter with 5 home runs. He's on the right side of the platoon against Matt Boyd, who hasn't exactly excelled with a 1-2 record, 4.91 ERA. And in the outfield, fresh off of a day off yesterday, Jacoby Ellsbury of the New York Yankees for 3,800. He's on the right side of the platoon against Jeff Samaja. He's hitting 272, 4 home runs with 17 steals this year. He has a home run off of Samaja, who has started to allow some home runs lately and has experienced struggles in interleague play in his career. Good hitting conditions forecast in the Bronx. It's suitable for the lefty. Ellsbury could look to have a big game today. That is all I have for you today. Best of luck with your lineups. I certainly hope you fare better than I got on yesterday. See you tomorrow. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget to like the video. Hit me up in the comments with the daily fantasy plays you like today and press that subscribe button. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I will be here all MLB season and through the NFL season with daily fantasy sports advice. If you haven't signed up yet, or you're interested in starting to play daily fantasy sports, please click the link in the description for this video and that'll take you where you need to go to start playing with DraftKings today. Best of luck with your lineups and have a great day.